lost my first wife, lost my 2 kids, you know, lost my damn good job, got kicked out of college.
I thought I was doing the right job for this country. I thought I was doing my duty. I don't trust the government, period.
The year that I was in Vietnam, I'd rather been a drunk or an alcoholic on the block.
Sometimes wish it were still the 60s. At least back in those days, people were, single people were interested in people that were different. Lord knows Vietnam veterans are different.
Different indeed. The men who returned from Vietnam are to this day suffering from the effects of that war, suffering from the way they were received when they came home to a nation that wanted only to put Vietnam behind it. 31% of them have been treated for alcoholism, 55% for drug dependence. 38% of all married Vietnam veterans were divorced within 6 months of their return.
For the first 8 years, I think, 6, 7 years, nothing bothered me. I felt like I gotten over it pretty good, and the things that I did over there never occurred to me that they would start bothering me. In the last 2 years, my wife tells me I've just been getting so pent up with frustration. I'd go out at night and have to go drinking, and she, slightest little things would set me off so bad. When I hit her that day, and I knew there was something wrong with me.
This delayed reaction is called post-Vietnam stress disorder. Some veterans counselors estimate that 60 to 80% of all combat veterans suffer from it. It affects different people in different ways, but there are some classic symptoms.
I'm very paranoid. I would just rather be sitting in the house, staying away from people. I don't like to get around groups. As far as handling a job, I've had some real good jobs over the past years, and I just can't handle it. I can't stand any pressure.
It's not uncommon at all to see a guy who's had 10, 15 jobs since Vietnam, and sometimes we've had a record of 40 jobs.
I can do any kind of job or whatever, and I got 5 or 6 different trades, but I can't stick to them. I can't take the petty bullshit that most jobs dish out. And I end up fighting on the job or fighting the boss or cussing the boss out or something like that. Then I end up losing my job.
The inability, or more specifically, the unwillingness to hold a job. Unemployment among Vietnam veterans has at times run as much as 40% above the jobless rate for the general population. An even more serious problem is crime. More than 150,000 Vietnam veterans have been sent to prison since their return. 32-year-old William Clement Jenkins. Before Vietnam, a normal guy, a leader, say his friends. No problems, no troubles. Today, he is in the Fulton County Jail awaiting trial, charged with murdering 2 of his children. On March 20th, Jenkins took his wife and their 4 children to Mosley Park for a picnic. 2 of the youngsters, 5-year-old William and 4-year-old Rashida, asked Daddy to take them to the jungle gym. As they passed by a closed concession stand, suddenly Jenkins began beating them with a tree limb and stabbing them with a knife. His attorney says his experiences in Vietnam cannot be ignored.
He saw a lot of combat, a lot of heavy action, had a head wound while he was over there, and when he got back, his whole personality was changed. The people who knew him well recognized it immediately, and the problems that he has had began upon his return from Vietnam.
Others take out their frustration on themselves. The suicide rate for Vietnam veterans is 33% higher than for the population as a whole.
I was dying out there!
This scene from a play presented by a group of Vietnam veterans is all too real for many of them.
You don't understand! They took me home! Jesus, I don't want to live anymore! I don't want to live!
That's all anybody here out there has, life. Another day, maybe. You were given a chance to see wrong, come back and make it right. Dying here won't do that. God, no. Let them jump.
But this is the extreme. Much more common has been a kind of emotional and psychological recoil. Veterans climbing into a shell to escape the world they came home to, much like the foxholes they dug to seek refuge from the war.
I would just rather avoid being around people, crowds. I'm just very withdrawn, and this is not my nature. I'm, you know, my old nature was being very outgoing and everything else. To do this, what we're doing right now, is taking a lot out of me. I don't know what happened. I can't explain it. When I came back from Vietnam, I just wanted to stay away from everybody.
William T. Sherman, who once passed this way, said the famous phrase, "War is hell." But Vietnam was tolerable. It was interesting. It's coming home that's been the problem. Home is hell.
A look at why Vietnam veterans feel the way they do tomorrow. On special assignment, Dennis Kauf, Action News.